Hey, it's Eric from the Saltwater Edge. It is the dead of winter here in Rhode Island, and it's a cold one. This is the coldest winter we've had in recent memory. Everything's pretty much locked up and iced in. If you don't have ice gear, you're not doing any fishing, fresh or salt. What that does, though, is it gives us a lot of time to think about preparedness for the upcoming season. I spend a lot of my time fishing from a boat here in Rhode Island and New England, so I thought I'd show you all some of the items I bring with me on every trip to try to make it as successful as possible. You should always check with your local regulations and make sure you have everything on board that you are legally obligated to have. These items are not those. These items are just the things that I've learned over time help me have more fun on every trip and make every trip more successful fishing. And without further ado, item number one, and I guess this is, depending on your area, this is an item that is legally required in a lot of spaces, including Rhode Island, as soon as your engine gets over a certain size. This is a kill switch cord. This is a really important item, and one that 2 seasons ago was really important to me. I was out perfectly calm day, just a flat calm day. Thought I'd do a little wide open throttle test, and a little piece of my steering connection, my hydraulic steering connection, broke, and the engine turned sideways immediately because of the torque of the motor. Kicked me sideways really hard, split my knee open, bashed my head, but I was wearing my kill switch cord. The engine died and I wasn't thrown overboard. I really think that if I hadn't had this on, I would have been thrown overboard and that boat would have come circling back in a really tight arc. So, you know, I know a lot of you are legally obligated to have these on board, but wear it. It's really easy. And after that incident, I had an older style, like rubber one, with a bad clip on it. It was just something I would put on occasionally. And I switched it out for one of these. This is, I think I got it on Amazon or West Marine or something, but it's super easy on and off, and the carabiner makes sure I can clip it to anything on me, even if it's just like putting it through the waistband of my shorts or something. This is a really important item, and you should really be wearing it when you're by yourself or when you have people on board. Can be a really good safety item. And if anyone wants to come in and see the scar on my knee, feel free. Next up is a toolkit. So I brought my actual boat toolkit with me. It's just a simple box. You can use whatever you want, and we'll just go through it here and show you what's in it. Right on top, first of all, is a flashlight. I really like this flashlight because it is sealed, it has an O-ring on it, and it will flip just to red if you press the red button, flips to white if you press the white button. So super simple, great for those like either nighttime trips, dawn and dusk, anything where you don't want to lose your night vision, just a one button red light. I think that's really important. And getting inside of it here, it's pretty simple. Starting fluid. Hopefully you don't have to use this, but it is nice to have, you never know. And this one's not full, so I've definitely used it a couple times. Next up, I have, in separate baggies here, some spare parts. Nuts, bolts, fuses, little rubber gaskets, grommets, the things I know may come loose and I'm gonna wanna replace on the water before I get home. Just little things that's like, I don't want to have to go home if something comes loose. Next up is screwdrivers. So I have a flathead and a Phillips head, and I only bring one of each. And the reason for that is I've gone through my entire boat and checked to make sure that this Phillips head fits every single Phillips head on the boat, and this flathead fits every single flathead on the boat. And I've actually switched out some hardware to make that happen so that I only have to have one of each. If it's a Phillips head, I grab the Phillips head. I know it's going to work. The next up would be some vice grips. You never know when you're going to have to hold something together. It's great to have these. I like the needle nose ones on the boat. I think they're pretty versatile. These ones I've had for a long time. They've been through a lot. And that day where that piece of my steering broke, I was actually able to straighten the motor out, clamp down that section of this with this really tightly and limp home without having to call CTO or anything. There was nothing else wrong with the engine, so I was pretty comfortable just clamping it down and going slow. But these, wouldn't have been able to do that if I didn't have some vice grips with me. Some regular needle nose pliers, always great to have getting into tight, small spaces. Fuses. And again, this is something I've checked. These are the fuses for the boat. 2 different sizes for 2 different things, but these are the fuses I need if one blows. Electrical tape, you never know, it's great to have. This is the, if something really goes wrong, this is the aluminum foil tape. This stuff is really heavy duty. If you wrap this tight enough, it's actually waterproof for a little bit. The downside to this, it is kind of a last resort item for me because it leaves a residue. It leaves a really bad residue because it is so adhesive. So this is something I only use in a last resort, but you could wrap a gas line, you could wrap a bilge pump hose, you could probably stick it on the side of your hull if something, you got a pinhole or something, but this is a really good item to have in case of emergencies. I have one of these because there's one spot on the boat I know is a 3/8 nut with kind of a long reach to a screw on the other side. So this is the only one of these I need. And last but not least, this is the one item that I kind of splurged for in my kit, and it's a set of Knipex pliers wrench in the small size, but there are a couple nuts and bolts that, I'll just carry this and be able to get to all those with them. Again, it's something I've tested to make sure that this is the right size for it, but a Knipex can take up the room of a lot of sizes of wrenches and pliers. So I like to carry it and just reduce what I have to carry overall. Other than that, what I got in here? My old broken gas gauge for some reason. I can probably get rid of that. And some more nuts and bolts for a piece of electronics on the boat. And that's it. I keep it pretty simple, pretty light, pretty simple, but these are all the things that I've tested to make sure work on the boat and my boat. Next up is a first aid kit. This one looks pretty beat up, but if you open it up, I do keep everything clean and current. And one of the reasons I really like this case, it was originally built and sold as a outdoor first aid kit, and it has a really nice gasket in here that keeps everything clean and dry on the inside. Couple of things I really like about this particular kit, and I've kind of built it out. This isn't how it came, kind of built it out to what I want on the boat. Instructions. Really nice to have instructions, and then just your basic stuff. I did put a light stick in there, just your standard bandages and stuff, but unfortunately I've had to use it on more than one occasion, whether it's slipping with a knife, splitting your knee open, someone on the boat gets hurt. It's really nice to have a little first aid kit. Obviously any major emergency you're going to want to call that in or head back into shore, but you should have a first aid kit and you should make sure that the stuff inside is up to date and dry. Dry and clean is really important for first aid. After first aid comes snacks. I think it's really good to just keep like some trail mix or something on the boat, even if you're bringing food for the day. You never know if you're going to be out there longer. This one's been sitting on the boat for a little bit, but the date's still good and it's sealed, so this one will probably sit on the boat for next year as well. I go through a lot of trail mix throughout the season. I'm usually replacing these a couple times a season, but it's great to have. Trail mix is really nice. It's filling, gives you a little bit of energy. Power bars or something, granola bars would do the same thing, but keep some snacks on the boat. Keep them, these containers are great because they're sealed, they'll stay dry, even if the compartment gets wet, so think about that when you're getting your snacks, but yeah, keep something on the boat. You don't know if you or someone on your boat is going to get hungry, and it just can extend your day out on the water a little bit and make everyone a little happier aboard. One of my favorite items and one of the simplest items you can have on your boat, and I have them all over my boat in a variety of different styles, are rags. I use rags for everything. This one's literally right off my boat from a compartment, so you can see it's a little dirty. It's been used But these are great. These just, have a bunch of rags. It's great to keep your boat dry. You never know if there's, going to be a little bit of blood, some water comes aboard, makes the deck slippery. You got to grab an eel out of a bucket. You got to wipe something off. I just have a ton of these on the boat, and I use them all the time. So this one I use more for like wiping down surfaces. It's a microfiber, so it won't scratch the windshield or anything like that. But I also have some like plain cotton rags. I've got some old t-shirts. I've got all sorts of stuff in different compartments just so I can quickly grab one. But this is one of those things that's just can make your day a little bit more enjoyable out there if you have the right things on your boat, wiping your hands off, keeping your deck dry, and like cleaning blood off before it dries is way easier. So I use these, I wash them, and I put them back on the boat. Another item when it comes to preparedness is be prepared to keep a fish. This cooler is obviously not the cooler I would use to store fish. This is what I use to store bait, but I wanted to show you all an example of a cooler and a tape measure. So know your regulations and be prepared to keep a nice fish. Take one home and eat it. It's up to you. I personally don't keep any striped bass, haven't for a couple seasons, but I do keep a lot of tautog and black sea bass. My wife loves black sea bass, so I'll try to, even if I'm bass fishing, I'll try to just jig up a black sea bass on the way home, and I want to be prepared to take that. So tape measure to make sure you're meeting the requirements, cooler to keep your fish fresh. Even if you just have a bucket on board, you can throw some seawater in the bucket, put the fish in the bucket, and it will stay pretty fresh until you're home. But yeah, I mean, be prepared to enjoy the bounty of the sea and enjoy taking a fish home. I see a lot of guys who don't treat their fish that well. You end up with a poor product, and some fish even get bad reputations based on that. So be prepared, have a cooler, have a little bit of ice, and enjoy taking some fish home. The last item I like to make sure I have on the boat with me is a log of some sort. It's really good for your boat maintenance if you're logging your trips. It helps you track when your next oil changes, when your next service is, how much fuel you're burning. All those things can actually help you do some preventative maintenance. It's also one of the most useful fishing tools to have is a record of your fishing. So get a little log. We sell these tide logs that have like a note section in them, which is also pretty handy to have for keeping track of the tides and the moon cycle. But you can just use any notebook, write down what you did that day, the date, what you did, how many hours you were out there, the condition of the boat. All that stuff really comes in handy, and it's nice to look back on, and especially if you're doing preventative maintenance on your boat, you'll know when your next service is, and you'll also start to build a pattern for when you're going to catch more fish. So logging, really good for improving the health of your boat and your skill as an angler. So those are the items. Some good stuff here. And let me know what I missed. What else should I be putting on my boat? What else should I be using? Sound off in the comments below. I'm sure a lot of you boaters out there have some great ideas for what else I should be using, what else I can bring on the boat to make my next outing even better. I hope you enjoyed watching this. If you get a chance, like and subscribe to the Saltwater Edge. Let us know what content you're enjoying, and we'll make more of it. See you in the next one.